Hello everyone, it is your favorite Valorant player, Shakes, and today I am pleased to finally be able to talk about Team Deathmatch. I have made a review for this mode because it has been long awaited. Finally, we have a mode that's not just a ripoff of competitive. Let's go! Anyway, I'm going to go through my pros and cons of this mode and their implementation of it, because this means a lot more for Valorant's future than you might think, and I'll explain why later on. Spoiler alert, nope, not going to tell you. You better watch the video. But without wasting any more time, let's get into the video. Subscribe to Shakes. And the first thing that I really like about the Team Deathmatch mode is that they have unique maps. There are 3 unique maps. They look pretty good. They have similar art styles to maps already in the game, which really helps with continuity, and they visually are pretty nice. They seem to be fairly well designed for Team Deathmatch, especially a Valorant version of Team Deathmatch, because unlike COD, they have some longer range areas of the map, like on the right side of
the new Valorant map called District.
Because some weapons and stages, especially the last stage where you get all your long range weapons like the Phantom, the Vandal, and the Op. Also, side note, nobody uses the Phantom in this mode because there's no point. I want to get one-tap headshots or else I'm going to be stomped every game. Oh, I kind of want to use the Phantom in this mode just to see how it is.
Sure. Nobody uses Phantom.
Yeah, I know. I want to be the first guy ever to buy the Phantom in this mode. Oh, this is legendary. I'm the first man ever. I got a world record. Finally, at something.
I want to try.
It's fantastic. One more kill left. Got him. Phantom confirmed better. It's nice that a lot of these maps have longer range areas, so you can practice using the Vandal, the Op, and just having longer range engagements that you'd find, like Haven, C-Long, or the entirety of Breeze. It's nice to have some variety so you can practice your long range aiming, and that's what's really good about these maps, because they do have long range areas and they do have very close range areas. Most areas are close, and that kind of leads into my first gripe, which is that I feel as though some of the maps are a little bit too small, that they become a little bit spammy, like you run out and find a guy within 10 seconds of spawning, which is obviously a design decision that they've made, so it's not really technically wrong. They wanted the maps to be at the size they are, but I might have preferred if they were a little bit larger, just so if you're queued with like 3 people, you can start to slowly take parts of the map and just have it a little bit larger so it feels nicer to take map control. Overall, the map spacing and design is done pretty well, but besides the maps, the abilities and the characters are also really surprisingly balanced, largely just because it takes a while to charge most abilities, and therefore they can't really be spammed and abused. I really think this is a genius way to implement the abilities, because if every single time you spawn with all of your abilities, I can't imagine which agents would be better than others. I mean, I probably could if I thought about it a little bit, but my brain only works at 5% capacity, so I don't want to do any mental work. But bottom line, the agents are fairly balanced just because you can't use the abilities that much. Yeah, the duelists are generally better. Yeah, Rain and Neon Jet seem to be pretty powerful, but you can do pretty well with any agent, and if you know how to use different agents properly, like if you're actually good at playing Astra, you can really set stuff up for your teams, so you can be really smart with how you push into areas and how you can block off sightlines and stuff of that sort. Obviously, we're getting a little bit tryhardy here, but hey, I don't take L's, so if there's a way to cheese my way to the finish line, I will every single time. On the topic of agents, I really appreciate how you kind of get to use the abilities in entirely new ways, because in TDM, you still get your abilities, you still get to use them, unlike in free-for-all deathmatch where you can't use them at all. Here, different agents are finally going to be more or less effective. For example, Killjoy is just not really good in this mode, while agents like Reyna or Neon are far more useful. You know, I never see a Neon do well in my actual comp matches, but here she's pretty good because she can pretty much instantly sprint out every single time she spawns, which gives her a pretty big advantage getting back into fights. But this really helps promote people trying new agents, which is a really nice thing, because if you play comp, you kind of just want to play the same agents that you're already pretty good at, because you don't want to be throwing for your team. In Team Deathmatch, I don't care about throwing. I literally just don't have the capability to throw. It's impossible for me. My aim is just too good. But you get the point. It's nice that agents feel a little bit different and can be utilized in new and unique ways in this mode, because it just plays so much differently. There's another layer of depth to understanding the agents, and a little bit of a different meta, which will be interesting to learn. Not that you have to master the meta in Team Deathmatch, it is Team Deathmatch of course, but as a bored Valorant player who only plays like 2 different agents, it's a very nice change of pace.
Well, I'm gonna go crazy on pistol and I'm just gonna get fucked on.
So you could just quit the game after pistol if you want to get like,
yeah, actually,
you know how like CS has like pistol practice, like pistol only servers. You could just play this for the first round, then quit after, and then keep doing it over and over if you want to get pistol practice. And now that I'm done with most of the pros, I'm going to go into a little bit of a hot take, and it's that this is honestly a better mode to practice your aim in than free-for-all deathmatch. And the main reason is because if you're playing regular deathmatch, you just spawn in the middle of the map, you have to flick your aim 360 degrees every few seconds to make sure you're not getting shot in the back of the head, and even if you do that, you're still going to get shot in the back of the head, so you just play so much more different. You play so much more snappy, because the longer you take to fight someone at one angle, the higher the chance is that someone spawns right next to you and kills you instantly. So because of this, this, people play so much more snappy. I mean, I see gold players triple strafing like they're playing in a VCT. It just doesn't really represent the way people play in actual competitive matches, and you even recognize this when you play like 3 different matches of free-for-all deathmatch, absolutely destroy, slaughter people, get first, second place every single time, and then the second you hop into a competitive match, even if the players you're playing against are of a lower rank than you were playing in DM, you just play so much worse and you get smacked every time because you just don't play nearly the same. It's an entirely different game, it feels so different, and outside of like slight mechanics, I feel like the skills just don't really carry over. People play so much differently in deathmatch. We've known this for a while. Team deathmatch, on the other hand, you peak far more naturally as you're just more aware of where the enemies are, where they're coming from. You can see your team on the map. You have a general idea of your map control compared to the enemies, and because of this, especially if you've played a good few matches on team deathmatch and you know all the maps pretty decently, you'll be able to pre-aim and understand which areas to look at, when to look at them, when to push up, and just have a much more realistic experience of peeking corners, watching areas, even holding sightlines, because yes, you can hold sightlines in team deathmatch. I know people are like, oh my god, he's camping a team deathmatch. I don't care, I'm trying to win, alright? No, but seriously, just the entire way that the game mode is configured, it's just far more comparable to how competitive it is. If you don't believe me, try this experiment. Play a free-for-all deathmatch using your favorite Bandicam, Fraps, whatever recording software you want to use, and then immediately after, play a team deathmatch, record that match as well, and then play a comp game, record that as well, and then just compare how your mechanics and how your movement and everything looks in team deathmatch compared to free-for-all, and which one looks more closer to competitive. After doing that, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And now I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Hop off it, bro. You like Valorant TDM so much? Okay, why don't you talk about 5 things that you don't like about Valorant TDM? And I'll do exactly that. You read my mind. What a smart cookie. Anyway, the first thing that I kind of don't really like, this is not that big of a gripe, but obviously I do have to mention it. There's just not really that many maps compared to the primary game modes, at least. So the game mode will get a little bit more stale than the other modes because, you know, you're only playing on 3 different maps. But for now, it's pretty alright, and I'm glad that they made these maps unique instead of just putting us on the default maps that we have for the other modes. I think this feeling is heavily amplified by the fact that the matches are just so short for this mode, because if you're playing, you know, a 40 or 45 minute, you know, decently long match of Split, you could play in that time, you know, District, Cosba, Pizza, and then District again, and, you know, you're running into the same maps over and over after queuing, so it just kind of feels like it's a little bit more stale. But, you know, I'm glad that they have unique maps in the first place, so it's not that big of a gripe, but I will say I would appreciate if they made some new maps for this mode, especially so people have a reason to come back to this mode, just so, you know, the player count doesn't completely drop. I've read online a decent amount that a lot of people are running into netcode and latency issues, feeling like it feels like an entirely different game than comp, where the game just doesn't feel quite as sharp as in competitive, and I kind of feel that sometimes, but I think it's, you know, it's not really an issue with the game itself. It's just the fact that this is like the most CPU intensive mode that's ever been in the game, and having not only 10 rapidly responding players, which also occurs in free-for-all deathmatch, but also each and every player having their own abilities, ultimates on top of the weapon pickups, health packs, and ultimate orbs that you can find around the map. There's just a lot more going on, which requires quite a bit more computation for our CPUs, especially compared to the much more technically simple other modes in the game, so naturally it's not going to be quite as sharp, but I hopefully think this is going to be fixed. I don't find it that big of an issue for me, maybe just because I'm fragging out every time, which I'll get into, but yeah, if you have that feeling, don't worry, you're not alone, but it's kind of understandable, and I think it's going to be fixed. Right, I do have a pretty good track record with this kind of stuff, so you can rest assured that if it does irritate you, it will probably be fixed pretty damn soon. Speaking of which, hidden MMR seems to not really be very accurate, at least for now, because I know I'm a pretty decent Valorant player, but there's no way I should be winning more than 10 straight team deathmatch games in a row.
Wait, how many wins do you have on team deathmatch?
Straight? I have 1, 2,
Oh
3,
my
4,
God.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm 10
Wait,
straight
literal
wins.
Green
Crazy.
carpet. Actual green carpet.
I feel as though they have to more quickly update the approximate MMR or, you know, matchmaking ranking of players like they do in free-for-all deathmatch, where literally if I top frag 2 DMs in a row, I'll get into matches with signed professional players. Here I can literally win 10 straight TDMs and I still feel like what I'm playing with is noobs. I don't really know why there's such a big discrepancy between free-for-all and team deathmatch. I guess I got a lot of morale and inspiration to work hard for my teammates. I don't really know, but yeah, I hope that gets fixed. The final con that I have for this game is the biggest one by far, and it's if you sit and spawn for more than 2 nanoseconds without moving, you will automatically start taking damage and can get banned from competitive play if you spend too much time, despite it being a casual mode, which is ridiculous compared to what happens in free-for-all deathmatch, where you just kind of go AFK and they're like, big deal. Let's see, I literally can't even alt-tab to talk to my Discord kittens for 2 seconds without Valorant making me taking damage and making me feel like a piece of shit for being AFK when my team needs me. Yes, I understand if I do have a team, it's kind of irritating that I'm AFK, but I've seen people get 24-hour bans for being AFK in TDM for a few minutes. Like, come on, choose. Is this a casual mode or a competitive mode? I know the mode is far more fast-paced, but I don't think the AFK warning should be fast-paced as well. But I think that'll be changed in the future because it is kind of irritating, but if it's not, I guess I'll just have to close Discord, close Spotify, close everything so I can make sure I'm 100% locked in, so I don't get banned if I accidentally alt-tab for a full 45 seconds. I know, damaging to my team. Overall, do I think they did well with the release of this mode? Yes, I did. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought it would be worse. I thought it would be like Spike Rush, but I think this is much better than Spike Rush. I'm just not a big Spike Rush fan. Maybe I'm just a hater at heart, but I really like this mode. It's pretty fun. It's kind of unfortunate that it has taken them 3 years to release what probably should have been a mode that belonged in the game sooner, as we've literally pretty much only had competitive Spike Rush and boring knockoffs of competitive in the game for years, compared to Valorant's competitors like Counter-Strike or Overwatch, which have plentiful modes to try out when you're bored of the same old game. In both of those games, there's just a ton of modes that you can get stuck in, to the point where you can completely forget about the main game if you want to, because there's just so much extra stuff to focus on. The majority of Valorant players, streamers, and YouTubers I know have complained about how little content there is in this game outside of just spamming comp matches, and also, you know, just how constantly bored they are by the lack of variety in the game, especially when you compare it with what you can find pretty easily in other free games. So I feel like this mode, the implementation of Team Deathmatch, is a really good step in the right direction. Still, Valorant obviously doesn't have nearly as much going on as most games it's competing with, but it's only been out for 3 years, so there's still a lot of time for Riot to invest in making Valorant more interesting, and obviously the competitive mode is the focus, but sometimes, you know, your entire community doesn't just want to spam comp games, especially when 95% of people says it makes them depressed. I'm grateful finally that there is a mode that allows me to spam by the areas to make the enemy team depressed instead of myself.
So what are you killing the people with the fucking Odin?
Haha, it's overpowered, bro. Haha, this gun is so broken. I also think the Smurfs just wouldn't be as big of an issue if there's just a lot more to do in Valorant, as sometimes you want to have a chill time, but you don't want to play on your main comp account, and you also don't really want to play unranked, so a ton of people choose to just Smurf so they can play semi-competitively, but at a level where they can chill. Team Deathmatch really fills that void in a really nice way, so I think there will be less Smurfs. Obviously, it's never going to be completely gone. People love playing at levels that they're so much far above so they can feel superior. If LeBron James was anonymously allowed in kiddie basketball leagues, I'm sure he would love to play there, because it'd be a lot of fun to get a lot of points. So a lot of people are naturally going to have the incentive to still Smurf, but I feel like Team Deathmatch still provides a pretty competitive, fun mode that you can play in your main account that can, you know, really fill that void for a lot of people who are tempted by the dark side. But yeah, that is what I think about Team Deathmatch. I'm very glad that they added this to the game. I think their execution was pretty much as good as I could have possibly expected it, which is lovely to see. If you guys want to see a tutorial on how to play Team Deathmatch at the highest level possible, the most cheese possible, so you can win every single Team Deathmatch that is relevant to your rank, let me know, of course. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you top frag your next Team Deathmatch match, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Come in here with me. The coffee shop.
Oh, yo, how did you get in there? Wait, how did you get in? Oh, shit. This is so cool.
Wait, yeah, behind the counter.
This is sick. Let's not even play. This is way more fun.
Gaming BC. Wait. Look, I'm
Yeah,
gaming.
nobody get out. Nobody get out. Don't give them any kills. Boys, we're not going to give them any kills.
Did they think this through or no? Like,
Don't.
if we just stay in base? Oh my god.
Oh.
They did think of this.
Haha, they did. Apparently so. They don't like us staying in the coffee shop too long.
What?